Most people will never be free, not because they lack the ability, but because they do not even realize they are trapped. They go through life bound by invisible chains of fear, societal conditioning, and self-imposed limitations. They follow a script that was written for them, never questioning whether the path they are on is truly their own. They believe they are making choices, but in reality, they are simply reacting to programming that has been embedded in them since birth. From a young age, people are conditioned to conform. They are told what to believe, what success looks like, what is possible, and what is not. Schools teach obedience rather than critical thinking. Society rewards compliance rather than independence. Most people live their entire lives within these constraints, mistaking comfort for freedom. They believe they are free because they can choose between different brands, different careers, and different lifestyles. But true freedom is not about choices within a system. It is about the ability to step outside the system entirely. The greatest obstacle to freedom is fear. Fear of failure, fear of judgment, fear of the unknown. People stay in jobs they hate, relationships that drain them, and lifestyles that suffocate them because they are afraid of what might happen if they break free. The mind creates endless justifications. It's too risky. What will people think? I don't have what it takes. These fears are not real. They are illusions designed to keep people in place. The moment you recognize that fear is nothing more than a mental construct, you begin to break its hold on you. Another reason most people will never be free is that they are addicted to external validation. They measure their worth by how others perceive them. They seek approval, admiration, and recognition, believing that these things will bring fulfillment. But as long as your happiness depends on others, you are a prisoner to their opinions. True freedom comes when you no longer need validation from anyone. When you can stand alone, confident in your own truth, you become untouchable. Most people are also trapped by their attachment to comfort. They avoid discomfort, choosing the path of least resistance. But real growth, real transformation, requires discomfort. It requires stepping into the unknown, taking risks, and facing challenges. The person who avoids hardship remains stagnant, while the one who embraces it becomes stronger. If you want to be free, you must be willing to endure discomfort, to let go of the safety nets that keep you dependent on a system that does not serve you. The economic system is another layer of control. Most people are trapped in a cycle of earning and spending, believing that money will bring freedom. But in reality, the pursuit of money often becomes another form of slavery. People trade their time for a paycheck, convincing themselves that they are working toward freedom. But instead, they become more deeply entangled in financial obligations. The person who learns to live with less, who understands that material possessions do not equal happiness, is far closer to true freedom than the one who chases wealth endlessly. Time is the most valuable resource you have, yet most people spend it on things that do not truly matter. They waste years doing what is expected of them, postponing their dreams for a future that is never guaranteed. They assume they will have time later, that one day they will finally live as they wish. But that day never comes. Freedom is not something you achieve in the future. It is something you choose now. The person who realizes this stops waiting and starts living. Mental freedom is the foundation of all other freedoms. If your mind is controlled by limiting beliefs, you will never be free, no matter how much external success you achieve. Most people never examine their own thoughts, never question where their beliefs come from. They assume that the way they see the world is the way it truly is. But perception is shaped by conditioning, by past experiences, by subconscious programming. If you do not actively challenge your own thinking, you remain a prisoner of your mind. Breaking free requires radical self-awareness. You must question everything: your beliefs, your habits, your fears. You must ask yourself, why do I think this way? Where did this idea come from? Does it serve me, or does it limit me? Most people never take the time to do this. They accept their mental patterns as unchangeable, unaware that their entire reality is shaped by what they believe to be true. Freedom also requires detachment. Most people are enslaved by their attachments, to possessions, to relationships, to identities. They hold on to things because they believe they need them to be happy. But attachment creates fear, the fear of loss. And as long as you are afraid of losing something, you are not truly free. The person who can walk away from anything without fear is the one who is truly powerful. This does not mean you must reject all things. It means you must not be owned by them. Another key to freedom is self-reliance. The more dependent you are on others, whether for money, validation, or emotional security, the less free you are. Most people rely on external factors to feel stable, but real stability comes from within. When you trust yourself fully, when you know that you can handle anything life throws at you, you become unshakable. The person who has cultivated inner strength, who is not reliant on any system, person, or circumstance, is the one who is truly free. Most people will never be free because freedom requires effort. It requires questioning, discipline, and the courage to step outside of what is familiar. It is easier to stay comfortable, to follow the crowd, to avoid difficult truths. But comfort is a prison disguised as safety. The person who dares to break free will experience fear, uncertainty, and challenges. But they will also experience life in its fullest form. They will know what it means to be truly alive. If you want to be free, start by taking full responsibility for your life. Stop blaming external factors. Stop waiting for permission. Stop expecting the world to change for you. You must change yourself. You must take ownership of your mind, your time, your choices. No one is coming to save you. No one is going to hand you freedom. You must claim it for yourself. The truth is, most people will never be free because they do not want to be. Freedom requires too much. It demands self-awareness, discipline, and the willingness to go against the grain. It is easier to stay in the illusion, to believe that one day circumstances will magically align and create the perfect life. But the person who sees through this illusion, who understands that freedom is a mindset rather than a destination, will rise above the masses. True freedom is not about escaping responsibilities or abandoning society. It is about living on your own terms, thinking for yourself, and refusing to be controlled by fear, attachment, or the expectations of others. It is about stepping into your own power, realizing that you are not a victim of life, but the creator of it. Most people will never reach this realization, but you can. The question is, will you? Freedom is not given. It is seized. It requires sacrifice, courage, and the relentless pursuit of truth. The world will try to pull you back into conformity, but only you can decide whether to resist or submit. The road to freedom is lonely, uncertain, and demanding, but those who walk it will never regret choosing the path less traveled.